Hi, I'm Cheryl Ann from Cherry Lane's Cupcakes, and today I'm going to show you how to make these pretty little rainbow cupcakes with rainbow frosting. They're really a lot easier to make than many of you may think, so let's get started. First, you'll need 1.5 teaspoons of baking powder, 1 teaspoon of vanilla essence, 1/4 teaspoon of salt, 2/3 of a cup, which is 130 grams of caster sugar, the zest of 1 lemon, this part is optional, I didn't add any lemon this time round, as well as 3 large eggs, and half a cup of unsalted butter at room temperature. You will also need to have 1/4 cup of milk, which is 60 ml, and 1.5 cups of sifted plain flour. And finally, you will also need to have an assortment of various food coloring based on your preferences. So first you just put the salt as well as the baking powder over the top of your flour before you just sift it through. You want to really make sure you do this step, don't skip it, because you want the flour to be really fine and not have any lumps in it, as well as when you use a whisk to combine all these ingredients, all the dry ingredients together, it will really help make your cupcake batter a lot more even consistency so that you won't have chunks of baking powder or chunks of salt in some parts of your cupcakes and some without. And then in a separate bowl, just add in your softened unsalted butter as well as your caster sugar. Try to use a bowl that's deep enough so that when you mix it with your electric hand mixer, it wouldn't just like fluff up and go everywhere. So if it's deeper, it's going to make this process a lot tidier. If you're using an electric stand mixer, just start on low and then put it on high for about 3 to 5 minutes. But here I'm just using an electric hand mixer. You can actually also just use a whisk. If your butter is soft enough, it's going to be relatively easy for you to do it, but it does require a little bit of muscle work. But it's definitely still possible. So if you don't own an electric hand mixer, don't worry about it so long as you have a whisk. It will do the job. So just continue mixing it until your butter and sugar mixture is completely combined and light and fluffy. So once that is done, you now just add in your eggs one at a time, beating well after each addition. So here's the first egg, and as you can see, a little bit of shell went in, so you just get a little spoon and scoop that out. Don't worry about it, just make sure there's no shells in your mixture. So you just beat that, and then there's egg number 2, beat that, and then there's egg number 3, and you just beat that as well. So when your egg, butter, sugar mixture is all combined, just add in your vanilla essence and beat that together too. Your mixture should look like this, really smooth and completely mixed with no chunks inside at all. And don't worry if your mixture kind of curdles a little bit, like it looks a bit grainy like here, but it's just because of the egg. So now you just add in your flour and your milk in 2 different parts. So you just start with half of your flour mixture, put it in, beat it well until everything is nice and mixed together, and then you can add in half of your milk, beat that together as well, and then your flour mixture, add the rest of it in. The reason why you want to add this in slowly in parts is so that if you add in all your flour at once, it might just poof out when you beat it. It's going to be messy. So you just do this, and finishing off with the milk, just beat it together, and you're actually done with making the batter. How easy is that? Don't forget to get the sides though. So you just use a spatula and just scrape down the sides so that when you mix it, you're actually mixing all of the ingredients together and not leaving some behind. And then you just wipe it down onto the whisk attachment part of your electrical hand mixer or your stand mixer. Do that and just continue mixing it again for about a minute until everything is nice and smooth. Yeah, look at that. Doesn't it look so good? Okay, so now for the fun part. Depending on how many colors you want in your cupcakes, I would recommend only maximum of about 5. Don't try to do 7 colors because then you will have like too little batter to cover each layer on the cupcake. So just about 5. I'm just taking about 2 tablespoonfuls each at first, and then whatever's left behind I try to evenly distribute it out. So once you are done with that, you just color it up with whatever food coloring you desire. Here I'm just starting off with a yellow color. You can start with a little bit first because a little bit goes a long way when it comes to food coloring. And you can just add a bit more if you want to deepen up the color. Personally, I find that a richer color would make your cupcakes look so much more vibrant and it just looks so much prettier. So just add more. Now I'm doing the red food coloring and I just mixed it up. Mix it up evenly until there's no more streaks inside. And then I'm doing the blue color. And I wanted it to be darker, so I added more. So you can really use any color you want. So I'm just using 5 different colors that I think goes well together in a cupcake. So I added a bit of pink and then a tiny bit of blue to make a purple. And I found it too lavendery light, like light purple, so I put a little bit of red in to make it a deeper purple color. And finally I'm using green. So I know they're called rainbow cupcakes, but these aren't exactly the colors of a rainbow. But it's completely up to you, whatever colors you want to use. So just line 12 muffin cups. And here I'm going to show you how I just layer it. Here I'm just putting dollops on top of each other and not really flattening it out. But if you want to really perfect it, you can just take a little bit extra time and just spread it down to make it flat layer so your cupcakes will be like the layers will be really equal. But it really doesn't matter because it's gonna look so colorful and pretty anyways. So now make sure your oven is preheated at 200 degrees Celsius, and then you just bring it down to 175 degrees Celsius and bake that for 10 minutes, and then bring it down to 135 degrees Celsius for another 10 minutes. And then when you stick a toothpick in, it should come out clean. And once that's done, you set that aside to cool, and you're ready to go and make your frosting. And here I'm just using 2 cups of icing sugar, sifted well with a whisk. You really want to sift icing sugar because they have a real tendency to clump up. So now you just add in half a cup of softened unsalted butter, whisk that you can use a hand whisk or an electric hand mixer, whatever, and mix it until it's all nice and combined and smooth and looks something like this. Once that is done, you can now add in your teaspoon of vanilla extract. Mix that well until everything is equally combined, and then you add in 1 tablespoon of milk. And then you just pour it in, and then mix it well and separate it out into however many colors you wish to use. Be careful not to use too much food coloring because then your mixture might be too liquidy. You want it to be kind of thick and firm like how you see it here, such that it can stay onto the spoon, because when you put it in the piping bag, you don't want all the colors to mix together and turn into one brown piece of mush. You want to be able to still like distinctively tell which color is where. And then you just get a piping bag and a star tip. Here I'm using Wilton's 2D tip. You put it into your piping bag and push it all the way down to the bottom obviously with the tip part facing out. Once you've done that, you just push it up a little bit so that when you cut the plastic, the whole tip can fit out where the whole shape is out of the plastic, if that makes sense. Like if you can see here, I'm pushing it out and you can see the plastic is still kind of covering the end hole of the tip. So I had to push it back in and cut the hole wider so that more of the tip could come out. Now just keep squeezing the tip out until it creates like a stopper between the plastic and the tip so that no icing can ooze out from the sides. You only want the icing to come out from the middle of the tip. Once you've done that, you just fold your bag inside out, as you can see like what I'm doing here. Just keep rolling it down so that you reach the bottom part where there's just a tiny bit left. If you have like a long glass, you might be able to just use a glass, like put the tip into the glass and like wrap the glass over. But I didn't have a long glass, or tall glass rather. So I just used my hands, and because I am right-handed and my left hand will be retarded trying to put in the frosting inside the bag, so I use my left hand as the cup. So you just pull it over, wrap it, and then try to make the top part like a little well. So once you have done that, just grab whichever icing you want first. So here I'm starting the yellow and I'm just putting it in. As you can see, I'm not exactly just trying to shove it right in the middle of the tip. I'm trying to put it more towards the side. But don't worry about the first part, it might be a bit messy and harder. And try not to dirty your spoons, like don't get the yellow on the pink spoon and stuff like that, like what I've done here, but yeah. So you just put it onto the corners, on the sides, like all around. You'll see what I mean when I do this more. So here I'm just putting the purple, and then now that the well is filled up, you just use 2 fingers and roll the bag up to create a deeper well, so you can continue doing this step. So now that I am pushing it up, and then making it neater, making it a bigger hole so that I can put in my orange at the side. See, I'm putting it on the side there, and then I'm getting the pink color. No, I'm getting the yellow color. I'm getting yellow color and I'm putting it on the other side, and then the pink on another side. So you can see like where I'm, like how this is going. And as I layer it, obviously don't put the same color over the same layer. Just try to make it, do it however you like. Just put contrasting colors on top of each other. So just keep doing that. You can really use any color at all. Like, you don't even need to use 4. You can use 3. I think blue, pink, and yellow goes really well. That color is going to be like really bright, vibrant and bright because they contrast so well together. But I just decided to use 4 colors. So just keep doing that until your whole bag is filled, and once that is done, you just make sure you've left a little bit of space on top so that you can fold it up top and roll it twice, twist it twice. Let the bottom ooze out until there's more than 1 color coming out. That's when you'll know it's ready for you to pipe onto your already cooled rainbow cupcakes. This step is so important. You have to really make sure your cupcakes are completely cooled so that you don't waste your efforts of having to mix all the colors just to pipe it on and for it to melt into one hot mess. So really make sure your cupcakes are 100% cooled. And there you have it. That's how you make rainbow cupcakes with a rainbow frosting. I hope this video has been helpful to you guys. Have fun with this, and till next time, I'm Cheryl Ann from Cherry Lane's Cupcakes.